It's
And
8
we're
o'clock.
live.
Ours.
We're
We're
live.
live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Vibe Time with Jerry with my co-host, David Flowers,
Hey, y'all.
and the infamous founder of Virginia Paranormal Events, John Stevens, a.k.a. Snowball.
Welcome.
How are you doing, John Stevens?
Welcome, all you snowball lights. Everything's been great. Last time I was on here, shortly thereafter, we went to the cabin on 360, thanks to David putting that together. And
Yeah,
we had a Friday night out there, and that was enjoyable. Sorry I had to leave so soon that night, but um, it seemed like we had a good evening, very active evening, and a lot of different crazy stuff happening. So
Yeah, there was
Hey,
pretty
Ronnie.
cool. Hey, Ronnie. Yeah, I got told to shut up. And let's see, what else?
You caught that shadow figure in the
Yeah,
basement.
caught the shadow figure in the basement.
What
Those
else?
are those are two main things with me.
somebody had a DR60. Who was that?
Um,
Ronnie, wasn't it?
Ronnie.
Ronnie. Yeah, that's right. And we got some good stuff off that. That was a lot of fun. So, um, David, what was that price for? What was it? 6 people? No, what was it? Up to 8 people?
Yeah, I think we had 8 people there, but it was it's $500 for the night.
So
So
that's all night, and that's
yeah,
up to, you said 8 people or ten
no,
people?
it's up to 10 people.
10 people. Okay,
Yeah,
and that's certainly that's nothing. I mean, compared to the amount of space you have in that building. Only
yeah,
thing I wouldn't recommend is having people, if you're going to be at the Brick Rancher, either be upstairs or downstairs, but don't do both,
oh yeah,
because people in the basement can hear everything that's going on upstairs,
yeah,
and that can interfere with things that you're trying to do, because down in the basement you might want to be as quiet as possible to get activity.
yeah,
The woods are going to be somewhat noisy because of the traffic, but a lot of people see visual things or have visual things happen out there as opposed to hearing things.
yeah.
So I'll never forget that one picture. I can't remember the guy's name. Um, he showed it to me, and it was something had poked its head. It was a little video. Poked its head from behind a tree and then came back behind the tree. So it showed itself for a second and then went back behind the tree.
Oh,
And I thought that was really cool. And that was
Yeah.
right at dusk, so he didn't really have to have a lot of light to capture that. But it wasn't in the pitch black, or we would have never seen it.
Yeah. And Ron, he put up there. He was told that he was wearing his mother's ring.
Yeah, well, I was sitting beside him when that happened. That was really cool because
Yeah,
Ronnie didn't tell us that he was wearing his mother's ring until after that was said, and then he pulls it out from underneath his shirt and shows us.
yeah,
So that was no one would have known that.
Yeah.
Um, and right after that was right after Ronnie had talked about the last time he was there. I had an experience where the thing had said some things to him. So um, overall, it's you know a really good place to investigate for the evening. But there's a lot of events coming up at the cabin all the time now.
Yeah.
So the was it second Tuesday? Every second Tuesday from 7 till 10. The name escapes me of what they call it. The
Oh
Tuesday
gosh.
night.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
something.
anyway, it's $20 a person, and you learn all about ghost hunting and get to experience some of that. So for the person that's looking to maybe get a feel for something, that's actually an excellent idea.
And Ryan just put in Shayla's daughter's name, Nancy was mentioned, even though Shayla wasn't there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The grandbaby was being born.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and I remember that because that name was prominent, and it meant something to us at the time. So, but
How
has the manor house been? Have y'all moved back inside yet?
Yep, we're back inside now, and you can still smell the new varnish on the floors a little bit, but it's manageable.
Okay.
And the activity is
Yeah.
there. The guests seem to get more stuff than we do.
I was wondering if they were going to, if something like that, when you make changes to places, even subtle changes,
Yeah. Well,
if it affects.
yeah, we haven't had the opportunity to do an investigation since we've been back in yet, other than the normal EVP sessions during the tours. So we haven't had the opportunity to do that, so we don't know if we was able to catch anything.
With a place like that where you have different people coming all the time, you have this. You can have a different energy.
Yeah.
Uh, each time you open the doors to the general public. So you're bound to, if you have a fairly large group, and I say at least 10 guests, chances are you will have somebody there with some energy that is going to get responses.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a child, a young kid,
Right.
that things will react with them. Sometimes it's when kids are acting up, you know, the mother of the house lets them know that that's not acceptable. But there are people that come in there that have had experiences. Some older people, and they hear about that, and they come there, and so they don't have any. They've kind of already experienced some paranormal stuff, maybe in their. Maybe that's not the very first time that they've ever done a ghost tour or an investigation, so they kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
Right.
But sometimes people are just this is their very first experience.
And not too long ago, Jerry's boyfriend was there. As I was running an EVP session, I asked, "Do you know anybody here?" And it said yes. I said, "Okay, who do you know?" And it said Jerry. And we were in Eliza's room. We finished up in there. Then we went to the round table room next, and I started doing an EVP session there. And I was just joking around, and I was getting ready to turn the SB7 on, and it's just joke around. Says, "I wonder if Jerry's boyfriend followed us in here." And when I turn it on, the very first thing you hear, "I did." Yeah. So Jerry got a boyfriend.
But they can stay there at the manor house. They can't come home with her.
Yeah.
Oh no, gosh, wicked things that happened.
Has anything happened at the at your museum lately?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Last Friday, I think it was. One of the workers sent me a message and a picture of all the spot. You know how we have that row of spotlights in the museum? It's like the row of, and it has spotlights. You know, I'm talking about when you walk
Yes.
in.
Yes.
Well, all of those spotlights were pointed to our desk, but there was nobody. I was the last person in the building. I was the last person that worked, and nobody else had been in that building because, you know, we have alarms and cameras. Nobody else had been in that building that entire
Anybody,
week.
and you watched the
No,
well,
she's got cameras on the outside.
oh, okay,
We
gotcha,
don't have cameras on the inside. We have cameras on the outside. We have motion detectors on the inside, but
gotcha. Yeah,
nobody.
motion detector. Yeah, motion detector's not going to capture a camera moving.
No, but yeah, she was a little freaked out about it, and you know, we made sure to triple check with, you know, the town hall to make sure that nobody had been in there, like one, you know, Steve or something like that, but nobody was there.
You know, um, I love it when places have video cameras that run all night or things like that, or that are motion activated and they come on. You know,
Hey, Kim.
uh, one of the one of the things that one of the first things I ever saw in in ghost hunting was when Angel at the Exchange Hotel, when I asked her, I said, "So
Hey, Shayla.
you have a lot of things happen here, right?" And she goes, "Oh yes, it's very active." She talked about she would be the last one to lock up, and she'd open up the next day, and there'd be stuff laying on the floor. You know, she'd go to various places in the building, and things would be knocked over or whatever. She would hear voices. She would feel her hair being touched. She would feel things being tugged on. That was just normal stuff for her. She was actually used to it. I said, so I was on. I was at that time. They had a paranormal uh, page on their on the Exchange Hotel page, and you could click on it to see evidence, and it was evidence that was going all the way back to the early 2000s. And there was one that she showed me. She said, "Here, come here into my office, and I'll show you what I'm talking about." And it was, one of those postcard things that spin, like, you can
Yeah.
turn it to the
Yep.
one that you want. She
Right.
said, she said, "Watch this. We captured this one in the middle of the night, and that thing was just turning."
That's
And
cool.
yeah, and she said, "See, that's that's something we've captured, but we know that other things happen because we come in and find it all the time." Um, but yeah, there was so I said, so it was this picture thing. She said, "Yeah." So I turned it. It turns, but I'm looking all around. I was like, what could possibly make that turn if I had to debunk it? And I'm like looking for air vents. There's nothing around there. It would have to be like a gale force
Oh heck yeah, because them
of
things are not
Yeah.
light.
of air condition to be able to
Yeah,
turn that thing.
yeah.
So that was really cool. And I think about it. I don't know if they have it there anymore, but every time I would go and they would have it, I would think about that, and I'd go by there and I'd just turn it a little bit just to kind of bring back that memory of seeing that thing turn around.
That's funny.
But yeah, and one time when I was there upstairs touring the building, it was the middle of the day, and she was actually going to be closing early that day, so she came upstairs to get me, and I said, "Have I been the only person in here?" And she said, "Yeah, you've been the only guest like this afternoon. The last guest we had was, much earlier." Um, and I swear I could have heard someone talking in the next room, and I thought there was somebody up here. In fact, I heard like somebody going up and down the steps. Now I was on the second level. I wasn't on the third level, and so I said, "You didn't come up and then go back down, did you?" And she said, "No, no, I've been down in my office the entire time you've been here." She goes, "We do have video cameras, so I can watch people, from the camera." I said, "You didn't see anything in any other rooms?" She goes, "Well, actually, I really didn't even look." And I said, "Well, I swear I could have heard somebody talking, and it wasn't like real distant, like,
Yeah.
the next floor
Mhm.
down or whatever. It's like, it sounded like somebody was carrying on a conversation in the next room. I actually assumed that somebody was already in the building touring. And I'm usually fairly quiet. I think of it more of a museum, and you don't, I was by myself anyway, so it wasn't like I was going to be talking. But I'm looking at everything and taking pictures and stuff like that. When I heard that, I stopped and I said, I poked my head out the window at the door and I looked, and then I went on up to the third level, thinking that maybe the person was up there now because I'd heard something going up the steps. And so I went on up there and looked in every room. There's nobody up there. And then I came back down to the second floor, and that's when Angel, I could hear her coming up the steps, and she came and said, "Hey, I'm gonna be shutting up in just a few minutes. I have to close early today." I said, "Well, good. I've already seen all I'm going to see." And I said, "But there hasn't been anybody else." And that's when I asked her. I said, "There hasn't been anybody else in here, has there? Or is there somebody else in here?" And she goes, "No." And she goes, "Did you hear somebody?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "I hear it all the time." She goes, "So we're very active." She goes, "Do you believe in ghosts?" And I said, "Well, I mean, I have taken ghost tours and at that time and done some investigating." She said, "This is an awesome place to investigate if you ever do our ghost tours on Friday night," which they were doing that at that time. So that's what I ended up doing. Shortly thereafter was doing that investigation. So
Nice.
yeah, it's just like, again, it's just a really cool place. It's very active, but it can be more active in some days. I guess it just depends on the you know it, something sets it off, or maybe it's a time or a date on the calendar that sets it off. Who knows? But one of my favorite places to go.
Yeah, I'd like to go up. I've been to the exchange. It's been about 20 years ago since I was there.
Wow.
I wasn't ghost hunting. I was just there. It's the first time I'd ever been there, and it was pretty cool.
I've never been there.
The
And my
whole
friend drives there all the time.
whole property is really active. Um, summer kitchen building next door um, is 2 stories. So there's stuff that happens on the bottom floor and stuff that happens on the top floor. And then they have the depot, and the depot used to be in really bad shape, and then they stopped letting people go in there because it was in such bad shape. They didn't want people to get hurt. And then now they've rebuilt it. So they took out all the bad stuff and they rebuilt it. And their plans, I don't know how far they've gotten along, but their plans, ultimate plans, were to turn it more into like a wedding venue. So you could, because it's a fairly large room building. You could have tables and serve people in there, everything like that. It's really nice.
Hey, Tina.
But um, but always, I'm always trying to send people down y'all's way for those that uh, want to check out something. Everybody seems to like gravitate towards Williamsburg anyway, and they tend to go to the old historic part of Williamsburg, but y'all aren't in the old historic part. Y'all aren't far from it, but it's still like the same architecture. It's the same age. It's the same. Yep. That was out in the country, But
I mean, the resort itself is nice. Like, I have to remind people you can actually rent units there and stay the night. They got the restaurant, at least. I mean, I'm hooked on their burgers. They got really good burgers.
Really good burgers.
Yeah. Yeah. But they also.
Yeah, bit on the pricey side, but they're good.
Yeah. Hey, Victor. But yeah, you can't stay the night at the manor house, but they have units that you can stay the night in. And people have reported activity in some of those too, right, David?
Yeah, I've had several guests. They come on my tour, and after the tour's over, we're talking, and they tell me about activity that's happened in their unit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one night I had this older gentleman. He took the tour, and he's telling me that the night before, him and his wife, they were in their unit. He was sitting in a chair. There's an empty chair, and then his wife was sitting in a chair. And then all of a sudden, the empty chair started moving.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, and we did have this guest on the first or second season that said that they heard crying in the woods. They couldn't figure out where the crying in the woods was coming from. And David had not even told that part of the tour yet. He hadn't even said anything about it.
Yeah.
You can't find our tour like that online, and it was two separate nights, 2 separate guests that reported that.
Yeah. And I've had a couple different guests send me video of them driving through the resort, and then driving by a swing set, and the swing was moving, and there was nobody around.
Yeah, I've seen those videos. Somebody posted some on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, or we'll be walking to get the activities list, and the kids will be sitting there swinging on the swing, talking to something that's empty in the seat next to them. I've seen that.
Yeah.
So it's not just the manor house part of it. It's like I said, the whole place has some stuff. Nothing bad, I don't think. I don't think there's anything bad. I don't feel anything like that out there. But,
David, how many acres do they have on that property? Do you know?
I believe it's 250.
Because there's a lot of acreage, it seems like there.
Yeah.
But I don't know how far it goes back, like behind the restaurant building, and how far it goes.
Yeah, behind the restaurant, it goes back quite good little ways all the way. There's a maintenance shack and uh, an area where a picnic area back there as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so it goes back a good little bit. Good, another pond back there.
Wow.
No.
Can you fish
What
that
a-
pond?
I think they have turtles. Yeah, I've been there 15 years. I've seen a bunch of people fishing. Never seen anybody um,
Catch anything?
catch anything.
Well, that's what I'm used to then.
Oh,
It's called
so
fishing. It's if they called it catching,
yeah,
everybody'd be doing it.
that's right.
They're
No, but
catching some turtles.
so I had a chance to do some interesting things this weekend. Just a little history wise, and I'll try to tie this into some paranormal stuff here. But
Hey,
there
Gene.
was Richmond National Battlefield Rangers. They're part of the National Park Service. They put on some excellent events, especially this time of year. You can go to their Facebook page. Just put in Richmond Battlefield, and their page will come up with their calendar of events. And these are again national park rangers that put on. They're excellent historians, so they add a lot to the tours. So these walking tours they give at some of these battlefield sites in and around Richmond. Um, so I went into one that was at Drury's Bluff. So Ranger Anna, who's a uh, naval vet, she's now a park ranger, and they allowed her to do that one because she says that's her favorite battlefield. Really, it is a battlefield, but it's more or less a fort as well. So they did fight a battle there. And Drury's Bluff is in Chester, right off of 95, so you can just hear traffic the entire time. But it has an excellent view of the river, and what its significant was when McClellan tried to take Richmond. He said, "We're going to take it by the James River. It's one way." And so we're just going to go. We're going to take Newport News, then we're going to take Williamsburg. Jamestown, and then we're going to take all the forts that are along that way and just come right up the James and take Rich. We're going to shell Richmond into submission. Well, they got to Drury's Bluff, which was a bluff that overlooked a bend. So when they came around the bend, they didn't know what was waiting for them. And Confederates were on both sides of the river. They had sharpshooters on one and big cannons on the other. And plus, they had sunk boats in the river to make them run aground or hit those, barges, or
Mhm.
they had to maneuver a certain way to get by them, which they couldn't. So they ended up being almost broadside, point blank range, and fired down on. Long story short, 7 soldiers died during that battle on the Confederate side. Several died on the ships that were attacking from the Union. They basically tucked tail and went back to Newport News. They never tried to take Richmond by the James River again.
Hmm.
So that was an interesting story. Of course, heard a lot of personal stories, things like that uh, going on, which always makes it very interesting when you have the human stories behind that, and that's where the Rangers can, as the great historians that they are, provide that touch. Right after that, uh, we went to uh, Westover Church, and that's over there on Route 5. And it's an old Episcopal church with a lot of early 1800, some 1700, early 1800 graves in there. So there are some famous people known to history in that graveyard. But it's a beautiful graveyard, beautiful church, and its proximity to the James River plantations, the historic plantations. That was a church that a lot of people attended, and with that graveyard there, it's really cool to visit. So that was a lot of fun. Uh, had a chance to go to City Point, which is in Hopewell, and City Point has a house on it called Appomattox Manor, and it sits on a point. City Point is a point, and the it's where the Appomattox River and the James River meet, and it was really cool to see where those two rivers were meeting because one was brown and muddy, and the other one was somewhat clear,
Oh,
and you
neat.
saw them meeting and just forming like this big line. And there was a definite distinction between the two, but it's a beautiful old historic building built back in the 1700s, sitting on that point. Now, it's known in history as one of the uh, probably during the Civil War, the busiest port in the world, actually, um, was at City Point at Hopewell. And all the ships were coming there and docking. Uh, Abraham Lincoln came there and met with General Grant at towards it. He was there a few times, but the last time he came, he met with Grant in April of 1865 and heard they still have the house where was Grant's headquarters is still there. The funny thing is with that story is they had actually disassembled it, sent it to sent it up north somewhere where it stayed for like 110 years.
Oh,
Then they
wow.
realized, let's take it back to Virginia. And so they disassembled it and sent it back to Virginia and rebuilt it. And they put it near the same spot where it was. But that was where Grant's headquarters was actually. You would have thought he would have taken over the manor house, but he didn't. He took this, kind of looked like a slave cabin. This is about how big it was. And but Appomattox Manor, we got to go inside and tour. And you know how you are when you go into an old historic building. Everybody else is there to see how enjoy the architecture, see the old wooden floors, hear the stories about this and that. And of course, I'm sitting there going, "You got any ghost stories?" I'm asking the Rangers, "Can you tell me what goes on when y'all close the doors and stuff like that?" And of course, a lot of those Rangers ain't going to say nothing. So they're like, "Yeah,
Right.
Interesting story though is I did go to they have these steps that lead upstairs, and you know how you get this after you've investigated a long time. You get like this. I swear, it's something that just kind of it's it's like a sixth sense you get eventually. If you do it enough, you'll get it.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it. It doesn't mean that you're
Psychic?
psychic or anything like that. It's just
Means you're psycho.
yes. Well, that's probably more accurate.
You're psychic for
I'm
just a
standing
spell.
now. You couldn't go upstairs, so they have it blocked off. But I'm standing there and I'm sitting there going, Robbie goes, "What are you looking at?" I said, "There's children running up and down these steps constantly." I said, "There must be 20 children in this house, and they're running up and down these steps." And he goes, "How do you know that?" And I said, "I don't know how I know that, but that's the sense I get." I said, "This was a very busy place." So And I don't know if I said 20. I might have said 10 or something like that. I said, there's a lot of children running up down these steps. And he goes, huh? And I said, there was a nursery up top. I call it a nursery. That's where all the kids were kept, all in one room. I asked the ranger, I said, when the Epps family was living here, was there any children? Oh, yeah. Epps' son or something like that. They had like 10 kids.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, did the elbow to Robbie. And, but you kind of get that feeling. It's not
Hey
always bad.
Daryl.
It's not always a bad feeling.
Hey Ralph, if you're on here.
It can be a different kind of feeling that you just kind of get. City Point was a great experience. And then I'm trying to think where else I might have gone that day. I mean, it was literally an all day history event, just traveling all over Virginia, it seemed like. Yesterday, I had a chance to go back to Monticello, which I try to do quite frequently. And it was, I didn't tour the house this time. I've toured the house so many times. I give the tours a lot of times to the guests, and they don't like that. When guests try to tell them everything that goes on, but when you've been going there for as long as I have, I know more than the college grad that is trying to, I've heard and forgotten more stories than they will ever know about that
Well,
house.
you do know your history.
The land is it's just a beautiful place. I can tell you that the seasons it changes, and I've always enjoyed the outdoors there. I've always enjoyed learning about his growing habits and his gardening and things like that. So, because when I try to grow something and I kill it, I don't feel so bad that he tried a lot of different things and he failed at it. But he was trying. He was trying things.
A strange fact about there. He went down to the manor house and got apple seeds from Richard Tolliver. Because Richard Tolliver, he'd come up with his own variety of apple. It's called the Taliaferro, and it was known to make the best hard cider. And so he went down there and got some of the seeds from Richard Tolliver.
Ain't that amazing?
Yeah.
We can't get those apples, can we?
No, it's gone extinct.
I wonder what it consisted of.
Don't know.
I wonder what that mixture consisted of. I wonder if it's something like, John Mitchell has his own plant in Urbana, the Michelina app, like parchberry or something like that. But we actually have it growing in our community, in our little garden in the back. Somebody found it and we're growing it in the back of the building.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
And what do you call it?
It was like a parchberry tree or a parchberry plant, but they call it the Michelina plant.
Yeah, everybody else calls it pot.
What's up? Flowers. I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
We have to research that. Maybe we can use that as a trigger object. Bring an apple. Bring an apple pie or something. Sorry, don't mean to get off subject, but my mind was just spinning with
going right to the apple pie.
Yeah.
So you going to be going to Cabin Con here in 2 weeks?
I am. That starts 5:30, which is what, a Friday?
Yes.
Is it? Yeah.
And it goes through Sunday.
Yep, which is the first.
I haven't seen the lineup per se for it yet, but it might be out there. And I was looking. They're still looking for sponsors. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you could do the silver level for 100, gold level for 250, and the platinum for 500. All of them get different things, and so I don't know. Who all is planning on being there and stuff like that, but Rachel is it Rachel DeMico, Miko, Jason McLeod, and Candy Howard were the people that I saw that were going to be
Yeah.
presenters.
Yeah. I'll be speaking on Friday.
Um, I was going to. I asked him if he wanted me to speak, and he said, "Yeah, that'd be fine." But I don't know if I'm going to do it.
John Stevens.
I
You
know
can't do
it's
that shit.
well.
Damn it, the
My
hell.
mine has to be more audio visual.
We'll see you there.
No, I'll be there, but the visual part is what I've got to be able to do, and I don't know if that's going to be a possibility.
Yeah.
Ronnie Ricker will be there. They're platinum sponsors.
Yeah, there's. I mean,
So platinum
I've
that, no. Oh.
I've been trying to promote it like crazy, and it's sometimes I don't want people to just kind of get used to seeing that there's these advertisements for it. But I just want people to know to put it on their calendar to at least stop by one of those days and get your
Yep.
ticket. In
Bedford
fact,
Paranormal and Clover Hill Village will be there.
oh, good. And
Yes, we'll see you there.
I don't know how much. I don't know how much the general admission ticket is. Do you remember?
Let me go look. I can't remember.
I'm thinking $20
Was it?
for
Yeah, I
the
think
for the weekend.
I don't know. I don't even know what silver sponsor gets because I don't remember.
I
That's
can
what I
tell you
did, but I don't
the
remember.
the silver sponsor gets. I had it. I had it up here. They get your logo displayed on all the CabinCon advertisements, social media, acknowledgement on the media platforms where the Cabin on 360 LLC is active. 2 complimentary passes to the full weekend of speakers and vendors. Does not include VIP presenters or investigations. Promotional materials. You get to 1 promotional item or brochure in the event welcome kit. That's the silver level. Gold level is $250. Basically the same thing, except you get 4 passes. And then
And you have to speak on here because Dennis has you as a presenter and he has your picture by it too.
Where at? I didn't see that.
On his actual Cabicon, the Cabin on 360 page. So he's got you down as a presenter. So your ass is gonna be there presenting.
Does it say what day?
Let me see. It just says with more presentations by these amazing presenters.
Wow.
Haunted Nights, FPRI, Middleton, Booze Paranormal, Virginia Paranormal Occurrence Research, Beyond the Badge, Animals, Expedition Files, Sacred Sage Healing, Rising Sun, and no one other than John Stevens.
Where are you seeing that at? I went to his page. I don't see none of that.
Go to the Cabin on go to Dennis S. Locke's page.
Cabin on 360.
Yep, Cabicon 25, and then click on that link and scroll, buddy. So your little trifling ass can't get out of out of I'm not going to speak. Yes, your ass is going to speak.
Man. Well, he just about mentioned everybody else. They wouldn't. By that
If he's
time,
got you down as a great person, bitch, you're going to speak. Oh, yeah.
all right. So I need a show. I need a show of hands. Do you want it? Do you want it history related, like Civil War history, or do you want it Bigfoot?
Oh, shit.
I think Bigfoot would be pretty cool.
Yeah, but also touch on Virginia Paranormal Events page and how that all got started, because you never know who's going to be at that event that don't know you.
We don't need that shit in here.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. You've got to do that because we have new people all the time.
Look,
We have new people all the time.
if half those people that you just mentioned show up to speak, this thing will be going on till Wednesday.
You'll be fine.
The following week.
We'll try to just.
What do we have? Like 10, 12? We have 12 minutes to get up there.
You'll be fine.
No, if half those people show up to speak, those are some good people.
Yeah.
I mean, the names that you just threw out there, I hope they come because I'm gonna be excited just to see them again.
Yeah.
Jeremy and all those guys, man. I tell you, they're
yeah. Ron's saying, John Stephen, just talk about the stripper pole in the cabin.
There is a stripper pole.
It's
actually, some people think it's a light, but it's a stripper pole.
We're getting t-shirts made. I still have that picture. I swear one of these days I'm getting a poster made of that.
Well, there. Yeah, I just have to find out when.
Well, just message Dennis. He'll tell you.
David, are you on Friday night?
As far as I know, on Friday.
You're Friday night, kicking it off. You're probably the first speaker. Well,
he's prepared. We speak all the time.
Yes, you do, and you actually got a book, so you can actually open your book and start reading. You can read your whole book to people. That's your presentation.
Yeah.
Now buy the book after you've read it to them.
Yeah.
Hey, that book sells. That's a popular book.
Oh,
I'm telling you right now, he sells out of them things on the tour like nobody's business.
Well, I mean, and you don't necessarily promote it. I mean, you don't go like, all right, everybody that's come tonight, if each one of y'all buys a book, we can keep this thing going at least another week.
Nope, you don't have to. Yeah.
You don't jump on their pity at all.
Yeah.
But
that's a word of mouth book.
Well, you got to ask yourself, what would you rather do? Sell the books or sell the dowsing rods?
Probably the books.
Yeah.
Because they're not as hard to make as the dowsing rods are.
Right.
But those sell like hotcakes too.
Yeah, the dowsing rods, see, you can, you buy those for the kids or whatever, and the kids the rest of the week you see them in the pool with the dowsing rods, at the swing sets with the dowsing rods.
Yeah.
Kid hitting his sister with the dowsing rods. You got those beads going everywhere, No, but it's the cabin con. I assume it's going to be at the cabin. I hear Dennis has been clearing some territory out there behind the cabin. I kind of want to get back there and do some relic hunting if he's maybe digging up some ground back there. I don't know if he is, but get the backhoe going.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be a fun event.
it's gonna be at the cap because he was trying to get it across the street at the school,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be at the cabin. He said he got a 20 by 40 tent set up.
Is that where the speakers are going to be?
I don't know if the speakers or if the vendors or
Well, I guess we'll just see.
yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Um, Let me hit a couple of events. I mean, my
Sure.
gosh, everybody came here for the events, and I've been just jabbering
You
away.
got you got 10 minutes.
Well, I don't even have that much stuff, but anyway, I did want to say, and I already mentioned about the every second Tuesday. So I wanted to make sure
Yes.
everybody knew about the cabin every
Yes.
second Tuesday. Um, on May 31st as well, haunted tours still going on at Bacon's Castle. So that's going to be a kind of a normal thing. Every few weeks they'll do those, and that I encourage everyone to go to Bacon's Castle, but do one of the ghost tours. And like they'll do it on a Saturday night. They'll do like 4 tours. They're about an hour each. They're led by an investigator and a girl that works there, and she has tons of she has tons of stories because she's worked there, and this investigator that is a speaker as well has investigated there several times, and they play a lot of their evidence. They actually have a book that guests when they write in something that's happened to them, or they encourage people to write in like, look, if you've seen or hear anything, send us it and we'll put it in the book. And so they've got this real thick book that they've been keeping for the last couple of years of things that happened at Bacon's Castle. Really cool place anyway. Oldest brick home in, I guess, in America. I mean, it was built in
Yeah,
the
it's the
1600s.
oldest brick home in North America.
On June 7th, Spirits of Brandy Station, going to be up at Brandy Station. There's a ghost investigation going on up there. Again, on the 14th of June, Bacon's Castle, again, running more ghost tours. So they'll have it again in July as well. A good Bigfoot event, if y'all want to go to, is going to be in late June, 6/26 to 28, is the West Virginia Bigfoot. That's right across the line, and it is going to be, they have an excellent lineup of guests. That's a cool, that town, I cannot remember the name of the town. They close off the city so that everything is downtown and people just walk up and down and the streets there. But on June 20th and 21st is the Virginia Bigfoot Con up at Wyers Cave, Virginia. So people like Fredericksburg Paranormal or Kim Sage or Haunted Nights, they've all had tables in the past. So it's a good event to go to during on that Saturday. Also on the 27th and 28th of June, this is a big one, and this might be sold out now, is at Belle Grove. Haunted Nights Paranormal is doing an event at Belle Grove with the Tennessee Ray Chasers coming to Belle Grove for the first time. So, but that event, they didn't have many tickets left last time I checked. They may be sold out. They're doing haunted tours at Berkeley starting in July again. So that will be an event that you'll want to keep an eye out and do one of the Berkeley events. There's going to be a lockdown in August at Belle Grove, led by Fredericksburg Paranormal. And then in September, I wanted to make sure I called everybody. I'm not going to go beyond September. But in September 19th, Tennessee Ray Chasers will be at the cabin on 360. Haunted Nights is bringing them there. That was a big event that was announced recently. That event will sell out. And they have been to the cabin. I don't think officially, but they came and checked it out, and they said yes, we want to come here and do some investigating. Um, so as you know, they have a lot of people that follow them around and try to do events. So that will be well represented. Plus, it's a 2-night event, so you can do Friday night or you can do Saturday night. And there's so you can, one will sell out, and then everybody's going to be forced to buy the other night. But the way that places like Dunlora can't hold as many people, and it can get crowded at Dunlora, and not so much at the cabin on 360 because you have multiple buildings and multiple sites.
Groupies.
Yeah, groupies. That's right. They follow them around like crazy, and all you can do if you see any of their events and their pictures, you see people a lot of the same people. Now we have some local people that do that follow them around. They're really cool guys. I encourage everyone to do it at least once. So that was all I've got as far as events. Just wanted to kind of keep it simple. There might be a lot of other events. As I always say, you can always tell people just to put it in the chat if there is an event that you want me to know about, and I'll start promoting it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there are so many out there.
Yeah, some of them come and they kind of come up, like I'd say, like within like less than a 3 weeks notice, and it's like, okay, well, maybe
Pamplin Park. There's an event in Pamplin Park too, isn't there?
Yeah, but I haven't seen any more about that, so I'll have to check on that, and I can. I know there is. I just can't get the dates right. I don't know if it's in June or if it's in July. I have to look it up.
Yeah, I thought I've seen it. I just can't remember the day now.
Yeah, they'll probably have one in the fall as well, because that fall event does well.
Yeah, I thought it was September already.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
I'll have to go in and look.
So the next big thing is we'll see everybody at the cabin. Even if you just come for the day, say hi to everybody, and then leave. I don't know what the investigating hours are at night.
I forgot what time it started. What time did it start, David? I don't remember.
What, the cabin con itself or the ghost hunt?
The ghost hunt.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, and don't let me forget the 24th of May. So that's this weekend.
Oh yeah, this weekend
is the flags at
Woodland and Evergreen
cemeteries.
Yep.
So
9 o'clock.
Dennis came out and said today that the soldiers will be there as well, representing. That'll be good.
Yeah.
I'll try to make it. There's another event I'm going to the same time.
Yeah. Somebody has to take a picture with a couple of them for their mommies.
But everybody ought to do that at least once, is go and do that flag, planting flags by the veterans at those cemeteries. First of all, you get to see those cemeteries.
Yeah.
And if you'd have seen it a few years ago, you would really appreciate what they've turned into now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
But as things are winding down here, I just wanted to say thank y'all for all the support. We went over 7,000 members this week.
Wow. Awesome.
Everybody tells me they'll run in, and I'll say, yeah, I have this little page or whatever. And they'll say, I think I belong to that. And I'm like, you probably do.
That's what I'm saying. We never know who's on here. So, because we have people from our tour that grab our card and know that we run a podcast too. So it's hard to say.
But those of us that like to do this sort of thing, you need some place to be able to go and find out where all this stuff is happening, when it's happening. You can always refer back to it. I just wish there was an easier way of like having a calendar like available. Jeff,
Yeah.
my other partner on this project, he was putting out a actual. He was going to think about doing a thing where you could submit your email and he would email you a calendar, getting on an email list and doing it that way.
Nice.
Or there's a link that he would put that would show you a calendar. There was a couple of different techniques, things that we were going to try to do. So
that's going to be cool.
Yeah, well, thank you again for having me on. I appreciate you guys.
For coming on.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. You've been committed and to us. Gosh, I can't even. We are Vibe Time's been on the air 5 years now. You've been on it at least 4 of those with me. At least 4. Every third Tuesday.
I was young and full of energy back then.
You're still young and full of energy now.
Full of something.
Full of something.
So we appreciate it. And you guys, next Tuesday on Vibe Time with Geri, we're going to talk about a bit of a complicated subject. I'm going to be talking metaphysical hour, and it's going to be covering the energy body versus the physical body.
Does that mean carrying stones in your pocket?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. And I've been really reluctant to do this one because it's a little confusing, and I think that we'll be okay. I'll try to explain things the best that I can.
With this audience, you got to dumb it down. I'm telling you.
I don't know if I can do that.
With her co-host, she has to dumb it down.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. So I look forward to doing it. I just hope that I don't confuse people.
Well, if you see me here with my eyes glazed over, you need to dumb it down a little bit more.
I don't know if you can do that. The only thing I'm going to tell you is just do the best. So We'll see y'all next Tuesday on Vibe Time with Geri, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Metaphysical Hour. It's going to be energy body versus physical body, and David Flowers is just going to sit there to look pretty. That's all. We appreciate y'all coming on every week to support us, and y'all have a great week and have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
See y'all.
Thank you.